What does mean by toggle?
Complement.
Complement. Okay. So if you see here, for J and K flip-flop, J, K1 and the clock is 1, okay, it will be toggle. Okay. So it will be toggle. That means that particular state, it is called unstable state or it is called uncertain state. Because every time it is toggle, you cannot find the correct. So that stable is called unstable or uncertain. Are you understood? This problem is called race around condition. This is very, very important. What is meant by the race around condition? Okay. What is a race around condition? In JK flip-flop, when J equal to 1, K equal to 1 and also clock equal to 1, the Q output will be toggle as long as for many state. Are you understood? That state is called unstable or uncertain. This problem is called race around condition. Could you understood? Can you give a response to me? What is meant by race around condition? This will be occur only in JK flip-flop, not for SR flip-flop. Okay, not for D flip-flop. Could you understood? Can you give a response? Okay, so to avoid this race around condition, we go for the concept of master slave JK flip-flop. Are you understood? Can you understood why we go for the master slave JK flip-flop? Can you give a response to me? Okay, yes. So in race around condition, what is a race around condition? In JK flip-flop, in J equal to 1, K equal to 1, the output will be toggle as long as many time. Okay, so that means here there will be two flip-flop, master and see here, master and slave flip-flop basically combination of how many flip-flop? 2 JK flip-flop. Are you understood? So it have a 2 JK flip-flop connected together. Okay, so master slave, how many JK flip-flop is connected? Can you give a response to me?
2.
Which flip-flop is connected? 2 JK flip-flop. Are you understood? In series configuration. This is one actor as a master and another actor as a slave. Could you understood? Can you give a response? So the output of the master is connected to the input of the slave. Are you understood? Can you give a response to me? Okay, so if you see here, this is a circuit diagram. This is the one flip-flop. This is another. This is called master flip-flop. This is called slave flip-flop. Could you understood the diagram? Okay. I'm waiting for your response. Okay. So if you see the output of the master flip-flop connected to the input of the slave flip-flop. Is it okay? Can you give a response? Yes. Yes, okay. Now, if you see, you have a clock pulse. So, this is a synchronous sequential or it is a asynchronous sequential?
Synchronous.
Is it correct, Prince? Is it correct? Samuel Raj? It's a synchronous or is it asynchronous? It is a synchronous because you have a clock pulse here. Are you understood? Okay. So if you see here, if clock pulse is 0, okay, the master flip-flop is work. Okay. In other words, clock pulse is 0, the master flip-flop. Then the clock pulse is 1, okay, the slave flip-flop. Okay, if you see here, 1 minute. If I'm giving the clock pulse is 0, okay, my clock pulse is 0. Are you understood? Here my clock pulse is 0. Then what is my output of this NOT gate? This will be 1. Are you understood? Okay. So if my clock pulse is 0, Okay, then my slave flip-flop is enabled. Are you understood? Because this will be 1. If my clock pulse is 1, what is my output of this AND game?
0.
0. Then the master will be enabled. See here, the clock pulse is 1, your master. The clock pulse is 0, the slave. So the master is edge triggering or level triggering? See here, 1, 0. So it is a level or edge?
Level.
0 to 1 means it is edge. 1 to 0 means it is edge. See here, 1. So it is a positive level triggering. Yes or no? The master is a positive. Can you answer me, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Positive level triggering.
Then the slave is a negative level triggering. Could you understood? Can
Yes,
you give a
ma'am.
response to me? Everyone is understood? So here, if you see the entire diagram, if the clock pulse is 1, the master is enabled. Are you understood? So this is 0. So this is disabled. So whatever the Q value, that will be passed to the slave. Are you understood? Whenever the clock pulse is 1. Are you understood? Okay, next one. Again, it will be go to yes or no. Clock pulse will be how? It will be 0, 1 like that. So whenever the clock is 0, the master is disabled. Now 1, the slave is enabled. Yes or no? So whatever the output, that should be passed. Okay. So here the toggle will be avoided. Okay. In this condition, the toggle will be avoided here. Could you understood the master slave flip-flop? So master is a positive level triggering. Slave is a negative level triggering. Can you understood? Can you give a response to me? Everyone is understood? Okay. Okay. Next, I'm going to the same thing I'm giving. Okay, 0, 0, all whatever I given, I explain in the same. Okay. Now I have given the some small basic to 1 mark or 2 mark question. What is mean by pulse width? Okay. So the pulse width is measured of the elapsed time between leading. Okay, I'll show the diagram. Then you can understood. Okay, this is a clock pulse. Yes or no? Could you understood? Okay, so I told this is your clock pulse. Okay, what is your time period? 1 lower and 1 upper. Yes or no? That is called the time period. What is mean by width? A single, this is called the width. Could you understood? What is mean by pulse width? So this is your width. This is your time period. Can you understood? Can you give a response to me in the diagram? So time period, okay. What is how to time the time period? Okay, there will be 2 width. Okay, one is upper width and the lower width. Not all the clock pulses were similar. So we have to find the this and this is called the time period, but the single is called the width. Can you understood that? Okay, so what is the this is some other pulse width divided by time period into 100. Okay, what is the pulse here? 2. Then what is your time period? 4 because 2. So 2 into 4 into 100. This is called duty cycle. Could you understood? This are some basic questions. This is, are you understood what is mean by width? Everyone has understood what is mean by width? What is mean by time period? Okay. What is this one? What is this one? It's a positive level or edge triggering or level triggering?
It's
Negative level triggering.
Very good. It is a, everyone is accepted by Samson's answer. Negative edge triggering?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Then what is this one?
Positive.
Positive level triggering.
Positive level triggering. Okay, what is this one?
Positive edge triggering.
0 to
0 to
1.
1.
Yes. Then what is this one?
1 to 0.
So what is 1 to 0? It is a
Negative edge
Negative
triggering.
edge triggering.
very good. Then what is this value? What is this one?
With
Width.
With
Okay. And what is this?
time period.
time period.
Time period. Everyone has understood? Can you give a response to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everyone. Okay. Now I am going to next is setup time. Okay. So what is a setup time? 1 minute. Okay. If you see here, this is a clock pulse. Okay. This is your clock pulse. The amount of time, the data at the synchronous input must be stable before the active edge clock. Okay. So what is my setup time? Okay. From this is a lower. Okay. So this is called a setup time. Okay. This will be stable for some time. Then it will be take some triggering. So this is called your setup, half of this width. Are you understood? Can you give a response to me? Okay. This is before it is triggering. That is called the setup time. Everyone has understood for the setup time? Okay. And the next one, hold time. What is hold time? This one will be after trigger. 1 minute. This one will be half. This is this up. Okay, this is called hold time. After it is triggered, after the trigger time. Can you understood? What is the setup time? What is the hold time?
One time till one setup.
Okay. See here, the setup time means this is a clock pulse. Are you understood? The setup time. Okay. So here, before it is triggered, this time is called setup time. Okay. Before it start triggered. Are you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What is the hold time? After it is triggered from this half period. Okay. After this is called hold time. Are you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is for before triggered. This is for after triggered. Can you understood for what is that? Can you give a response to me? Before triggered means it is a setup time. After triggered means it is the whole time. Are you getting me? And are you understood? See here. This is for before. Setup time means before triggered. Are you understood? Then hold time means it is, see here, it is the after. Can you understood what is the difference between setup time and the hold time? Can you give a response? So everyone is cleared? And the last one, propagation delay. Did you learn this term before itself? Can you tell me in which where we learn?
Look ahead generator.
Very good. Carry look ahead generator. We call the term called propagation. Yes or no? Where we learn the carry. Yes or no? So what is the propagation? Whenever you're giving the input here, okay, the time between you're given the input and the getting the output from. So this time period is called the propagation delay. Could you understood? Can you give a response?